Hey, what's up? I'm Jackie. I'm a professional character designer and now adding filmmaker to my titles. Because I'll be making a short film in 2 weeks for no other reason than I love the pain and thrill of it all. So for the past 2 years, I've been making a short film with my co-creator Antonio about a little astronaut boy who's trying to impress a little astronaut girl, and we call this series Space Date. And it's merely a coincidence that the two characters look like us. So for the first film 3 years ago, we did it ourselves in a week. It was very stressful and a really horrible time. We had to learn Flash from scratch. And so the following year, last year, we got some animators to help us out, and I feel like it looks way better than the previous year. And for this year, the third Space Date, we have a small team of animators helping us out as well, which is awesome because I feel like this idea is a lot more ambitious than previous years. It's got a lot of dialogue and a lot of characters. So we have 14 days to complete the film, and it's going to be about probably under a minute long. So let's break down the process of making a short animated film. So step one, you have your idea, your storyboards, your character design, your animatic, layouts, rough animation, clean animation, compositing, and sound design. That's 9 steps. Easy peasy. Couldn't take any more than 14 days. So come take this journey with me, and let's see if this turns into a huge stress in my life, or if I learned anything at all from making short films in the past. Here's the timeline for the whole project. Day 1, today, we start. Day 7, we're gonna hand off the scenes to the animators. So before that, we need to have the animatic put together, the final voices synced up so the animators can lip sync to the voices. So we're gonna set up the scene because there's a lot of camera movements and the resolution needs to be the right size so we could zoom in without getting blurry, and organize the spreadsheet and find out who's doing what. So we have to do all that before day 7. Day 12 or 11 is final clean animation due. We're gonna be compositing throughout whatever the animators give to us earlier. Day 12 is final, everything done, and then we're gonna give it off to our sound designer so he has 2 days to do it. And then day 14 is done. Dunzo bunzo. So that's the timeline we're gonna go for. I hope it works out. We're gonna find out, you and I together. So step 1, ideas. So a few months ago, Antonio and I were having coffee and we were trying to put ideas together for our upcoming short film. So we had some rules within the Space Date universe that we have to follow. So first of all, the boy is trying to impress the girl or get her attention. That's number 1. Number 2 is that the girl doesn't speak and she is a prop. Number 3 is that the boy embarrasses himself in one way or another. So Antonio and I came up with this idea, it was mostly Antonio's idea, that the girl is sitting in the lunchroom and then the boy wants to sit with her, but he's arguing with all of the other voices in his head, telling him not to or telling him to sit with her or trying to convince him to sit with her. And in the end, we had some ideas like maybe she's not there in the end, like it's nighttime, like he waited too long and she's already gone. So we had a few ideas of the types of characters that would be in his mind palace. Maybe he's arguing with his cool self. His cool self is like, yo, just sit with her, whatever. Antonio loves the idea that there's a vampire. There's the scared one, the sad one, maybe like the psycho killer one. Kind of like how, there's an angel and a devil on your shoulders. There's like the cool one and the scared one on his shoulders. So now let's start with storyboards. So I've already started the storyboards. I'm just like roughing out basic ideas. And for the character model sheets, I'm just using last year character model sheets as a base. Mostly we're just gonna keep the same character designs. Before they were wearing a spacesuit with a helmet, and now they have to be wearing like their indoor uniforms. So now I'm going to time it on Premiere with some scratch track dialogue that I'm going to do myself, just like rough audio, just so we can actually board it in Flash with an idea of what the timing will be like. So it's day 2, we finished the idea, we're working on the storyboards, and I'm getting started on the character designs, props, and the new characters. I'm putting a page together of all the new characters that boy meets in his head and trying to figure out what it's gonna look like. I'm drawing a new outfit for the boy and girl. I'm drawing out the props that they're holding, like the lunch tray and the bottle, and I'm putting a lot of props into Flash assets, so then the animators don't have to, redraw the props. While they animate, they could just drag in the assets that I've already created. So that's saving a step for them. And here Antonio is starting to board in Flash, but he's got work to do, so I'm taking over. So I'm just gonna be boarding out the ideas and the timing And then Antonio's gonna go over and put the characters on model because they're his original designs, and he's got a really good shorthand of the characters, and I don't. Mine look like this. So we're just gonna be working on storyboards for a few days. Hello, a couple days have passed. I'm still working on storyboards. Basically finished boarding the rough idea, and later tonight Antonio is going to take over and draw things on model. So the animators can actually use the poses that we're giving them instead of just guessing what they have to do. So I started off with the timed storyboards.
Come on, dude. What are you waiting for? Just go sit with her.
I don't know, maybe I should in the bathroom again.
You always make excuses.
It's not that easy.
Grow up, man. Just be cool.
Maybe be yourself.
No, be smarter than yourself.
Be braver than yourself.
Try being someone else.
There's no time. We're all gonna die. Can't you see what's happening here?
Nothing matters anyway.
I have to try.
I can't believe none of you
You're
just
millions
the odds are not in your favor.
Fine, I'll do it.
So I took those timed storyboards and I put it into Flash, and then I've just been timing it to the voices and putting in some camera moves.
No, be smarter than yourself.
Be braver than yourself.
Try being someone else.
Just basic camera moves so we get the general idea. We're gonna have it a little tighter later after Antonio kind of refines the action. That's basically it. I'm just like gonna fix some timing issues and some of the drawings before I hand it off to Antonio. And then we're gonna do our audio, I think tonight. And I'll try to put it together and see what happens. And that's what I'm doing today. And hopefully I'll do a good job with dialogue recording. Okay, bye. So it's day 5, the animatic is basically put together. Last night we went to our sound editor, John's house, to record, because the animators can't lip sync from the scratch track because it will change. So we have to do the real audio quite early on. Because the audio is going to change because I did a bunch of ad-lib. So I recorded the voices of all the characters. I think they're pretty good. I'm not much of a voice actor, but I love doing me some accents.
Don't you see what's happening here? Oh, come on, don't you see what's happening here? Fine, I'll sit with her, just leave me alone. I'll sit with her.
Near the end, when all the characters are yelling at the main boy to sit with her, every single character is like yelling at him to do something, so it's all overlapping and you won't really be able to hear one individual character, so I just like ad-libbed a bunch of stuff of what that character would say. Here are some of my favorite ones that might or might not make it in.
Grab life by the balls! Have to barricade, have to barricade. You're the world's worst astronaut. Go suck her blood.
And after this, just finishing up the animatic. The boards are basically done. Finishing the timing, and then we're gonna set up everything else for the animators to start in a couple days. Day 6. So the final animatic is put together.
Come on, dude. What are you waiting for? Just sit with her.
I don't know.
Maybe you should eat in the bathroom again.
You
You always make excuses.
It's not that easy.
Grow up, man. Be cool.
Maybe be yourself.
No, be smarter than yourself. Be braver than yourself. Try being someone else. There's no time. We're all gonna die.
She can't be trusted. She's one of them.
There's no point. Nothing matters anyway.
You gotta try.
Just be cool. Just
time
because
numbers
you're
are
brave.
there.
Now
I
you
did
have
the
to barricade
calculations.
with
It
one
won't
finger.
work. There's no
Don't
way.
do that.
Just
Fine, I'll
please.
sit with her. Just leave me alone. I like massage. I like massage. Running. I like massage. Drag.
And I'm just finishing up putting a spreadsheet together to organize the scenes with dialogue and notes about the scene. And Antonio and I are setting up scenes for the animators today because we have a lot of close-up scenes, so we have to have the smallest frame being the closest shot, and we make everything bigger than that, so when we zoom in, it won't lose resolution, it'll look fine. So we're gonna set that up for the animators so they don't have to do it. And then I'm gonna start working on the main layout of the film, the lunchroom scene. We need a day shot and a night shot of it. It's gonna be the biggest layout of the whole film. The other scenes are just like the inside of the brain, and we'll figure out how that's gonna look like, but I think it's gonna be very minimal. And to also show that inside his brain there's nothing there. He's just a himbo. Tomorrow we hand off the scenes to the animators, then we're officially at the halfway mark.
Wow.
It's day 8 today, and yesterday we handed off animation scenes to the animators, and I also started the main background yesterday. Today I am finishing it up, and I'm going to start compositing it. So when the animators are done animating, I could just put it into the already composited scene and have less work to do down the line. Time management. So everything's on separate layers. You can bring it in compositing and do different things. I'm going to make these lights move and blink and stuff like that. These lights glow and stuff. And I'm going to make these stars like parallax like that to make it look like the sky is moving behind them. And this is the original sketch that Antonio did. I wanted to make it sleeker. I kept as much as I could, with also adding things that I like. Shameless plug, I'm going to be putting step-by-step walkthrough on how I made this background on my Patreon.
Wow.
That's right, I have a Patreon. A lot of behind the scenes, I got tutorials up in there. Anything you want to know about my art, it's up there. If you want to learn about my process and if you want to support me. Anyway, also side note, my arm has been hurting a little bit. And if you know anything about me, you know that I've been dealing with a crappy elbow injury with my drawing arm. So I'm wearing my splint at night on my not drawing arm because that arm is starting to hurt too. So hopefully comping will be easier on my arms and hopefully it doesn't get worse and I can finish this film in one piece. Oh yeah. So here's my process with compositing in After Effects. I export every individual asset on Photoshop and I put it into After Effects and I adjust them on the Z axis to give them dimension. So when I move things around, it'll kind of look like we're moving in a 3D space. I'm adding dust particles and movement in the lights, and that's basically it. There's not much to it for this scene. So I've been starting to put the credits together, and we all know I have dumb bitch disease because I decided to, for some reason, pick up a new program. And I started modeling the credit scene in 3D in Blender for no apparent reason other than I thought it would be cool. But like I've been looking up tutorials all day and like trying to figure it out and it's just taking forever and I'm so mad. But I'd rather learn a new program and rip my hair out instead of just doing it in perspective on Photoshop. So that's a lesson to learn. But I'm drawing the credits now and I'm not really happy with it. I don't really care for it, but I already made the model and I already spent all this time on it, so I'm not gonna redo it. 5 days left. We added a scene, an intro scene, an establishing shot because we didn't have it, and Antonio did all of that basically by himself. I did the logo and then he comped it together. So that is first scene done and completed. Right now I am taking Antonio's rough for like the brain scene throughout the middle, the inside his brain scene. And I'm gonna like just tighten it up and then he's gonna start comping it because we have one finished clean animation, scene 7. So Antonio's starting to put a list together for our sound guy, John Galzotti. He's putting an extensive list together to point out when what sounds we want. It's a new day, there's 4 days left, including today. And today I'm done with Cintiq. I'm gonna start comping all day. I have exported the final credits. I've exported the final establishing shot. So we got 2 scenes finished and some of the animators are finished, they're clean. So I comped some of them together. A new animator just sent another scene, so I'm gonna start comping that right now. So this scene was definitely the hardest to kind of composite and stitching together the previous shot to this shot because they're 2 different animators. And not only do the poses have to link up, but the zooms also somehow have to link up. And it was just like a really tough time trying to figure it out. But eventually I did, and I think it looks okay, but I could have been smoother. So the way I've been compositing these scenes is that I add a multiply shadow on their bottom half and using gradient ramp to kind of blend them in with the background to make them look like they're actually there. I add a shadow of their reflection by duplicating the layer, flipping it upside down, feathering it in, and kind of like just like blending it in with directional blur and a little bit of multiply. Sometimes I add an overlay gradient coming in from top to make it kind of look like there's light hitting them. In the lunchroom scenes, I've been adding a highlight along their edges. I didn't do it in the brain scenes because I want to differentiate the 2 locations somehow. So in this scene, I add more of like a softness as an adjustment layer. I add a lot of noise, and my favorite thing to do is add an RGB split along the edges as like a little radial blur to add this really like cool kind of depth of color, I think. It's day 12 and I just got a bunch of clean animation scenes sent to me. So I've been spending the past few hours comping them together. And so I'm gonna be probably doing this all night. We have 1 unfinished animation scene left, but other than that, everything's finished all at the same time. Hurrah for me. I just comped 3 scenes and I have 3 scenes left for tonight, and tomorrow I have the last scene and we're sending it off to sound design. Let's Let's do this. So while I'm comping, Antonio is editing scenes that weren't exported right or that need like little tweaks or things like that. It's very late in the comp night and we're taking shifts to finish compositing before tomorrow. Here's a lesson. Always give yourself time to have technology not work, because it's not gonna work. It's never gonna work when you need it to work. I've been sitting here for like 30 minutes. It's gonna take a lot longer than I expected. Day 13, spent all night compositing. This morning we sent the almost finished comp thing to our sound designer, John. I didn't finish, so I'm gonna finish doing comp now. A few scenes need edits, and then I still need to comp one full scene together. This would have been a lot faster if I wasn't so intense on comping. I really like for things to look really cool. Even though this is such a simple animation thing, I don't know why I make it harder for me than it needs to be. So I'm gonna finish comping, and then I guess the final visuals will be put together in a few hours. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna go to bed. It's done. I finished, it's done. Sent it off to John, our sound guy. He sent it back, I gave him notes. He sent it back, sounds great. Did I learn anything new? No. Did I learn to manage my time better? No. Although, looking back at it now, I think I liked last year's film better, just because I'm more of like a visual person and Hi, it's me again. So what I'm trying to say is that last year's film was more focused on like the visuals aspect of filmmaking, and this year was more story and character driven, where there's more of like dialogue and character acting. So the most important part of this year's film, which is the animation, was given to animators and thus out of my control. And control is something that is hard for me to let go. So that was my main challenge of this project and why I prefer the creation of last year's film. But that's not to say that this isn't something I need to work on. If you haven't seen the video yet, I'll link it in the description. You can take a look. And you know, let me know what you think. This is an exhausting process. Not only did I have to edit this whole entire short film, now I have to edit this video. So please comment and like since this is a lot more work making 2 videos on this one video. So drop a like, drop a subscription. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.